Are you tired of being spied by big companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook? Don't worry, because there is a solution for all of your data privacy woes. Introducing Nextcloud, the open source and self-hosted solution that lets you take control of your data. So say goodbye to data mining and hello to the peace of mind with Nextcloud. In this video, we are going to learn how to set up a Nextcloud server using Docker and Caddy as a reverse proxy. So without any further wait, let's get started. Before we get started, let's take a look at what things we need to build up a Nextcloud server. You need a physical server as well as a domain name. Our first task is to update the system. Simply type sudo apt update to update the system. Once the repo is updated, you can upgrade your system by writing sudo apt upgrade. Once the update is done, the next step is to install Docker. In order to install Docker, we will use a script provided by the Docker website. In order to use this script, we need to download curl. So first we will do that. Once curl is installed, you must run the installation script with root privileges. Type sudo bash get docker.sh. This will install Docker on your system. Verify that Docker installation is complete by using docker -- version command. Next, we will use Docker Compose module to manage Docker containers. Type sudo apt install Docker Compose to install it. You can verify the installation using Docker Compose -- version command. Next, we will add Docker to the sudo group so we don't have to type sudo every time we want to use Docker. Once this is done, we will create a directory called Nextcloud. In this directory, we will create a Docker Compose file. Before we move forward, we need to create a Docker network. To create a Docker network, use the following command: docker network create nc-network. This will allow Docker to communicate between different services. Once this is done, let's move to creating Docker Compose file. Type touch docker compose to create a Docker file. Before we proceed further, consider subscribing to this channel for more tutorials and content related to Homelabs. In this tutorial, we will use Caddy as a reverse proxy. A reverse proxy acts as a middleman and handles all your web traffic and direct it to different services. In our case, Caddy will receive external requests and forward it to the Nextcloud instance. To edit the Docker Compose file, type nano docker compose. This will open up a terminal text editor. First, we define the version number of Docker Compose. Since our Docker network is external, we will also mention that in the Docker Compose file. In order to persist data, we will use named volume. These volumes will store all of our configuration related to Docker containers. We will use three services in our setup: Caddy as a reverse proxy, MariaDB as a database, and Nextcloud for our application. We will use ports 80 and 443 to expose to Caddy. Caddy will then take care of the services running on the other ports. We will set the network to external network as we defined earlier. We will also map the Docker container socket to the server socket. Finally, we will set up the restart policy to unless stopped so that the containers will run automatically and stop only if they are explicitly stopped. Our first service is now complete. Next, we will define a MariaDB service. The steps are quite similar. We will also map the database to a physical volume. Next, we will define some environment variables. These variables will be used to access the database. The network will be same as Caddy since they have to communicate with each other. Finally, we will set up our Nextcloud service. We will use the official image from Nextcloud. In order to save the configuration, we will mount them using named volumes. Lastly, we will set the environment variables so that the Nextcloud is able to talk with MariaDB instance. Set the trusted domains to your own domains and remember to change the credentials shown here. By default, Nextcloud runs on port 80 for HTTP, but we will use other ports since this port is already used by Caddy proxy. We will use ports 1080 and 1443 for Nextcloud. Finally, we will add labels. Labels are used by Caddy proxy to know which port the incoming traffic should be directed to. In this case, the request for nextcloud.siliconmon.com will be forwarded to 1080. Our Docker Compose file is now complete. Press Ctrl S to save and Ctrl X to exit. We are almost done, but there is still a couple of things remaining. Let's try to run the Docker Compose file and see what happens. Open up a browser and go to nextcloud.siliconmon.com and the website will not work. This is because we have to configure the ports properly. Press Ctrl C to stop the containers if they are already running. Next, we will go to the location where Docker configurations are stored for the Nextcloud instance. We will edit the ports.conf file to set the ports to 1080 and 1443. Once this is done, we need to enable port forwarding in the router. Go to your router's homepage and find a setting for port redirection or port forwarding. This step will be different for everyone, so I will only cover my router here. In this step, we will forward port 443 and 80 to the server running the Nextcloud instance. The final step is to point the domain to your public IP. You can find your public IP using Google. Once you have your public IP, go to the domain name provider. In my case, it's HostGator. For you, this will be different. And add an A record for your domain and point it to your public IP. We are done with our setup now. Go back to the terminal and run the Docker Compose again. Open up a browser and write the subdomain in it. The Nextcloud instance should be running now. Use the username and password you set in the Docker Compose file. That's it. We are done now. Now you can upload your files to the Nextcloud instance and use it as your file storage. All your data will be stored on your own server. You can also use Nextcloud client to map your drive to your file system as well. I hope you liked this video. If you want to see more tutorials, click on the subscribe button for more content. Hope to see you in the next video.